Hey everyone, another video. In this video, we are going to be working with process parameters. And these parameters are basically like our inputs, our variables, for the process, for the function, the table valued function, the procedure, the web service, whatever we need. And this is kind of a key example on how building our own information schema is more powerful than SQL's, is that we will have the ability to tell what data type a scalar function returns and know what columns are going to be returned by a table valued function, something that we can't really do in SQL's information schema. So we are going to be creating a process that will take in a process ID and a JSON array and iterate through that and store them as necessary. Just like the data point video, I'll provide a script for populating the process table because I need to save some time, and the farther along we get, the longer our coding is going to be. So providing preliminary scripts helps us out in the long run. So I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you soon. Alright, so the first script I provided is similar to the one we created in 03. This is just for some additional process variables that we need, text, integer, numerics, etc. Nothing too special. And the next script I'm providing is just from our data point video, where I altered these to be input and output of each of the values that we're going to create, the user-defined types. And I just basically copy or find and replaced data point with process parameter. Same Cartesian on the class and the same Cartesian on the family. So you can download these and run them to get caught up with where I will be right now. Just some stuff I did offline to save some time. So with the process parameters, we want to get the process ID, what are we documenting? It's the process parameter parent. And then we're going to pass it in some JSON because it works very well in these situations. So the different variables that we need is the process parameter name, the process parameter realm, class, family, and type key names. So I'm just declaring them all as key names right now, and I'll do some editing. Looks like I had one too many, and I'll just remove key here. So this is the data that we're going to be storing in the JSON. So we're going to, just like the data point type video, we need our process parameter type ID, and we need our unassigned process parameter type ID in case we miss something and we're just passing data forward. It's a lot easier to accept data and classify it later than it is to, well, I don't know what data came in, I lost it. So then I'm just declaring a single JSON object, unlike the data point populate video. We're getting that array, we don't have to build it, so we don't need to. And then with my snippet for the class family type, I'm just looking for assigned across the board, the class family type, and then I can remove the actual process parameter ID and just copy this over here and paste it. So this will be our, default, I guess, variable, the unassigned version if we're passing in JSON that our system doesn't recognize for that type key name. So another snippet, just my cursor, and we're going to pull the value from OpenJSON, the incoming JSON variable. Now I'm going to make a higher level element in this, or array, I guess, in this JSON, just in case we need to add more information to it. And that element is going to be parameters. So you'll have parameters array, and each you'll have a parameters array, and each element within that array will contain our name, realm, class, family, type. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to select from the single JSON element, the actual element, using the with statement. And something I like about column select is that we can highlight the things that we need and speed up our code. So these are our variables, and I think we'll keep the parameter names similar. I'm pasting the code and removing all the white space so I can column select again. If there are any tabs or spaces, it does remember that, so I can't paste it between quotes, single quotes, or else it will keep those characters, those tab characters, and it won't format the way I want it. So I could just paste what I'm going to be calling these columns, define their data type, give it the root, and I'll close the quotes, and then I'll paste it again and see how it nicely fills out those quotes. I could do the same thing up here, equals, and those items that we're going to call. So this is basically our select process for that element. And now it's just like the data point video where we are going to try and classify what's coming in by using the information passed back to us in the JSON. So just got to add my system main here because we don't have a synonym creator yet. I'm not going to really filter by the class and realm. Is this an integer or not? I think I'll leave all that open. What I really want to know is that if this is an input or output, which is what our family will be, and what is the actual UDT, which is what our type will be. So that is what I'm doing here, is making sure, we don't really have, the realm is kind of a grouping. We don't need to know that at that time. And remember, clear out your variables that you use inside of the loop, inside of the cursor, or else it will maintain that information on the next iteration using select statements like this. So then simple, fill the process type ID. If I didn't get one, then use the unassigned version. And then if it's still not null, because at this point I've already declared it to be null, and if my unassigned backup fails, then we'll just skip this thing entirely. If it's not null, we're going to check the process parameter table for the existence of its parent and its name. So it's process ID and the name of the variable. Let's see. Oh, there it is. And then we're going to insert into that ref process parameter table. Oh, messed up that autofill. No problems. So get that process ID as its parent, the type ID, which should not be null. I will give it the name coming in, and I'm not going to give it a key name because there's no, at this level of atomicity, it's kind of irrelevant. And now we can just go ahead and create a process for it. And because it's so similar, like this video is so similar to the data point populate, I'm just going to use the dataset data point populate as my base. So I could just remove all of this code and paste, clean it up a little bit. We named it as ProcessParameter populate, and we're giving it one additional incoming variable because we can't get some of the information we want to store from Information Schema, so we have to be proactive in supplying that information. It's kind of unfortunate, but again, that is why we are creating our own Information Schema, so we can tell what is inside of a table valued function, what it's returning. We can create names and attach data types to scalar functions, some things that we just can't do with the Information Schema alone. So now I'm going to test it, and I believe I did not cursor through any of my data sets or processes, so I only have one right now. I know I said you guys should cursor through your data sets to add them to the table and processes, and I did not. But a quick drag and drop for the parameters, and just kind of format it to get it ready to be input as a JSON object. So it looks like all of these are generic texts. So let me just go grab my element names. I'll just grab them from up here so I don't have to worry about quotes. And we'll paste them and we'll start building our objects. So JSON, it's really, key, colon, value. It's just a lot of formatting. I've said this before, and just because this is a different video, I'll say it again. We are attempting to use JSON in this system. I am not sure if that will be the final piece to the puzzle. In this particular situation, it might be okay. In more high volume scenarios in our system, I'm not sure. 2016 deals with it a little differently. It's a lot harder to use. So I'm gonna take a stab at it in 2017, see if anything has changed. And again, using column select to just neatly place my variables in the elements. So now I'm just gonna copy the array that I had used, or the array name, and finish up this JSON object. Comma delimited. Move that over so you can see. Close the array, close the object, and we could just wrap it in quotes. And that should be good. Let's see. Looks like I formatted everything. Run it, and let's head over to the system table and see if we have something in the process parameters table. Yep. So if you can think about how this is going to be used, now that we have an ID to a process or to a parameter, we can link it up to a data point if we needed to. It's a way to get out of SSIS and into more control, easier to manage code. So thank you very much for watching this video. Remember, if you like this video, YouTube will recommend it to other users with our shared interests. And if you wouldn't mind, subscribe to support me. Have a good one.